We're getting ready for our upcoming exhibit, Carved in Stone, which is about the Chatham-Kent Cemetery here. And the reason we started in on this was because the fall of 2014 was when we were supposed to open the time capsule, which we did. And we were hoping to put on display many of the items from the time capsule. However, to much our surprise, we discovered that the capsule was empty. But earlier this year, we discovered that we had some pieces in our archives that were supposed to be in that time capsule, or so we believe. So we're doing an exhibit on the time capsule pieces that the museum has, talking a little bit about the upcoming time capsule, and then we're also going to do a little bit about our history in the cemetery. As you can see by the views behind me, they are taken from the cemetery, and it's a great place to go. But we can take a look at the time capsule pieces first. Now, in front of me is the file that we found this summer. I was working with a student named Jillian Webster, and we were looking through the letters in our archives. And this is how this was filed many years ago. You have to remember the museum's been around for 70 years, so there's been many different filing records and many people doing it. So not everything has been digitized just yet and cross-referenced. So this was a great surprise for us. We didn't know what was in the time capsule yet, so our comment was we just looked into the past to discover the future. Now, what we discovered were papers from the Daily News. I'll show you one here. This is the original letter going out to service clubs in our area, asking them to write their history and tell us about their clubs. We have a follow-up letter that went out in November of 1914. So you can see it's an ongoing process. We presume, we haven't got a dated thing, but we presume that that first letter went out in the beginning of 1914. And I'd like to focus on the Canadian Club for Women because the woman who wrote this must have been a poet in her soul. It is beautiful. This club was founded that year of 1914. It said February 27th on the top of her letter, and she goes on to talk about her club and all the women in it and what it was to do. It was a lecture society, basically, to better educate the women in the area on, world endeavors. So we'll have these documents out on display. Not all, but most of them will be out on display, and we'll give you a little history about the time capsule. Well, the museum itself is a great treasure trove. We've been around, as I said earlier, for 70 years now. So we've collected all of the history of Chatham and Kent. And that was the museum's purpose. That's why it was founded. So we've got vehicles and cars, and right now we're still looking at war history because there are so many untold stories there, and veterans we are missing that didn't make it into the books of the IODE. There are tiny little bits of our social history for Chatham-Kent, and then there's also history here that takes place on the world scale. Lots of treasures. On January 31st, we open our doors to the public. The cemetery exhibit will be up for a year. Please keep posted for the time capsule. We put out a call before Christmas asking people to give us their ideas on what should go in the new time capsule, because it's supposed to be kept up every 100 years. We're supposed to open that time capsule and put in a snapshot of our history. So take a look at that. The committee is still meeting. We're going to look at what was submitted to us for ideas, and of course there'll be a celebration for putting in our new piece of history in there for the people in the next 100 years.